All right, well, here is the deal. I did not even want to take time to change my clothes, to take off this awful, super manly t-shirt that I'll probably go to sleep in tonight. And I didn't even want to go find my good glasses that are more anti-glare to be on video. Not that I'm lazy, but I have this message to get out, and I've been furiously scribbling away on paper to get it all out. I wanted to make sure that I didn't leave anything out as I talked about this tonight. So even though my podcast and this YouTube channel, they're not faith-based, that is an important part of my life. I work at a church. I'm a leader. I've been on staff in this ministry for 10 years. I love Jesus. I love talking to people about God and pointing them toward Him, serving communities, and doing all those things of a faith community. So today, just in case you aren't aware, there was an older white gentleman of a particular denomination who, it was earlier this week, he said something very horrible. They were playing some kind of a game at a ceremony, a banquet to honor him. And he came out against a very amazing, well-respected, established woman who has fought this type of discrimination all of her career. She's been so gracious, has never really come out with any backlash, and has just plugged away doing what she feels she's called to do. She's such an amazing teacher. She's a good communicator. I admire her for so many reasons. And it's not even just against her. What this guy said came out against women. He told this woman, not to her face, but in talking about her, that she should go home. I'm not going to recall all these things. It doesn't matter. I'll link to the video. You can go watch it if you want to. That's not the point. I want to share where I'm coming from. So when I was 17 years old, like, this infuriates me because it has been so hard to find role models and women in my life who I could pursue, who I could look to set an example for what I felt called to do. When I was 17 years old, I felt called into ministry. Do you know how many role models I had? Zero. Absolutely zero. What am I going to do? I told a few people in my life that I felt like I was supposed to go into ministry. I'm barely graduated from high school at this point, and they kind of poo-pooed it, they shrugged, they kind of laughed it off. And so I discounted it. Now, granted, I had a great trajectory from there, and I don't regret any of the life experiences, any of the career experience that I've had. I love it all, and I'm so grateful for the path that my life has taken. When I was in college, I went to a church that actually had a female speaker. She was on the stage, and she was married to the senior pastor. They were co-pastors, but in my head, I would look at her, and there was something in me, and I'm not a natural communicator, and not that I'm shy, but I'm definitely an introvert. And so for me to look at someone like that and say, oh my gosh, that's what I'm supposed to do, that's what I'm going to do one day, it was so weird. And I couldn't tell anyone that because it didn't make sense as to what they would see on the outside. And I didn't feel like marriage was something I was going to jump into. Or I also saw, okay, well, if I'm going to be a female in ministry as a leader, then I need to be married to someone who is also in ministry. And I wasn't married. I ended up not getting married until 32. So you can see, like, I'm going through all of my 20s without a spouse, which kind of in the church world, even when you're going back 15, 20 years ago, that was kind of expected. Oh, okay, well, you can be in ministry if you are married to someone who's also in ministry. That completely discounted me. So I was relegated to things that were more hospitality related. I did actually work in kids ministry. I helped with college things. And I don't know, because I didn't run in leadership circles at that point, and it wasn't something that I could articulate, especially when I'm 20, 22, 25 years old. But there were just no opportunities. No one said, do you feel like this is something you would want to pursue? Okay, well, let's look at what that could play out to be for you. I don't sing. You don't want me to be a worship leader. Little known fact that I almost majored in early childhood development. So once upon a time, I was really good with kids. but I'm not a children's pastor. I don't do women's ministry. I'm way too direct and in your face to like sit around and sing Kumbaya and make crafts out of, I don't know, whatever you make crafts out of. So I was very stuck, and sorry, I had to make notes to get through all of this because I did not want to leave anything out. So even though, yeah, sorry for the glare. Even though I loved my time in corporate America, I found my sweet spot. It's now been right at 10 years when I was given an opportunity to step into full-time vocational ministry and be able to spend every day pointing people toward God, serving communities, giving people hope, and helping them see who they are as a reflection of God. Still, I'm full staff at a church. I'm single, and I still didn't have good mentors and good role models that I could figure out a path. And I felt so limited. I assumed that I would be in an administrative role pretty much for the rest of my career. Now, let me say, before anyone that I work with or who I have worked for, I have had amazing men and women in my life as mentors and in church forever. I did not pursue. There was a lot that I could have done to go out and find women, to find other churches who were doing it differently, to give me some kind of dream, to see some kind of path where I could use my skills and abilities, more of the business side, the analytical pieces, and step into a strategic or an analytical role. And so I take full responsibility for that. I'm not going to blame anything on anyone. And so it really was about 2 or 3 years ago where I thought, okay, something's got to give. There is something in me that is so much bigger than anything that I've ever let out, that I've pursued. I have probably wasted opportunities to improve as a communicator, to do other things in leadership, just because I couldn't see that happening anywhere else. That is so wrong. That is so wrong. You've got to listen to what is inside you and just run the heck after it. So that really began a journey of greater self-awareness, of I kind of embracing the drive, the voice, and the fire inside of me. Sometimes it's really hard to figure out how to let that out in an environment filled with men. And that's whether you're marketplace or nonprofit or whatever. That just happens everywhere. And not just for my own self-awareness, but also having, sorry, these are Brooks's glasses. I just grabbed them so they keep falling down. But it wasn't just my own self-awareness. It was also having the guts to let other people see that and to take this big risk and go, all right, that you probably don't, like, you've just never seen this side of me. So this is going to surprise you and you might not even know what to do with it initially, but I have got to get this out of me. And there's a verse in the Bible. If you're not familiar with the Bible, there's a book called Ephesians, and in Ephesians 1:11, in the Message version, there's a lot of different versions and paraphrases and things like that, but I love the way this verse is laid out. It says that it is in Christ, in Jesus Christ, you find out who you are and what you are living for. And that has not just been a hopeful promise, these cute words, that is something that's going to happen in the future, that I kind of cross my fingers and put it on like a little dream board or something. This, I know this without a doubt because of my own relationship with God, the plans and dreams that He has put in my heart, and the progress that I have seen in myself. And it is 100% connected to my pursuit of God. And the harder I run after Him, the more He shows me who I am and truly what I am living for. So now, and this is a little bit of where all the grit things were birthed out of, the blog, the podcast, this YouTube channel. It's my mission to help others discover who they are and what they're living for. I love using the context of a relationship with God, but that's not my priority. I just think that people, women specifically, have so much in them that they're often not tapping into for whatever. There's a myriad of reasons. And So it's my goal, as I'm sharing the experiences of other women, to maybe you'll hear something that sparks something in you and you're like, oh dude, I can do that, or I need to explore that a little more. Anyway, that's more for later. I could go on. I really want to kind of get through this whole thing. So that ridiculous old white dude who said that, his name is John MacArthur. So again, I'm going to put links to all of this. You can go check out what a nutcase this retard. Sorry, that's so un-PC. I get that. But I also, so with all of this, I'm not just a hype man who's going to tell you, I'm not Tony Robbins or someone who's like, you can do whatever you want to do. You just have to believe, you have to set the right goals. But I will argue that you can do just about anything if you truly have a passion for it. It's probably not going to happen tomorrow, and it might not even happen the day after that. But if you keep your eyes on it, you're going to make progress. You are going to learn more about yourself. You're going to learn more about the world around you. I think the printer's going off. What are you going to do? I'm sure Brooks is trying to do something. Anyway, so it's going to be a pretty damn big success if you just keep moving forward. I love Jesus, and sometimes I can get so fired up that I say bad words. It's okay. He still loves me, and I don't care. I'm pretty happy with the way I have turned out, and I know that God is not done with me. He is continuing to develop me, my character, my patience, my calmness. It is moving along. So let me also say, I have so many men in my life, as I mentioned, who support women. They have advocated for me. They have not put any limitations or ceilings on me. They've kind of allowed me to dictate how far I want to go, how high I want to push. And so I appreciate all the men like that. I'm also thankful for every man who has stepped up on social media to say that they disagree with these asinine statements from John MacArthur, and all of the people who were in that room, whether they believed or supported or not, they clapped. It may have been a golf clap and inside they were cringing, but they were there and they participated, and that says a lot. If even in a room like that, if you don't have the balls to stand up or tell people that they are off their freaking rocker, then you're in that group too. And so I really don't have a lot of patience for that. But every bit of talent and strength that you have came from God. There's no way He would give you something that He didn't want you to use. And I'm not saying that for you. That's something for me. That is what I have learned. Paradigms run deep. We're not going to change everyone's mind overnight. These are things that we're going to have to, they're dial turns. We're going to have to go a step at a time. God, I hate that glare coming in. That's driving me crazy. So the paradigms, we have to be a little bit patient. We have to help people move through this and learn and continue to educate them. When they say something that's not appropriate, we can lovingly help them. They might not realize, and they may genuinely support women, but just not realize how they're saying things that are hurtful or detrimental to you in particular, or to women as a whole. I'm also super grateful. I don't care. I'm just going to switch. I'm really grateful to live in this generation, because I don't think I could have handled the 50s, the 30s, previous centuries. It just would not be pretty. Let's see if I can read without my glasses on. So in some capacity, this is where grit comes in. There's just a voice that's too big for me to hold in anymore. In some capacity, I will always, from this point on, challenge women to do the things they were created to do. Sometimes you have to push. Sometimes we need to rally together. And sometimes you have got to get up off your butt and make your voice heard in whatever platform, whatever way you can get that done. So look out, world. I am not done. This is only the beginning.